Refused to babysit my terribly spoiled nephew, and then my sister left him at my door and texted, "Enjoy your weekend with him, or else." The next morning, she was screaming outside, because I was gone too. I had just settled onto my couch with a cold beer when my phone buzzed. The text came from my sister, Camille. "Camille, hey, I need you to watch Liam this weekend." Something came up. I stared at the message for a second, already annoyed. No greeting, no pleasantries. Typical Camille. I typed back, I can't. I have plans. I didn't. But I wasn't about to sacrifice my weekend babysitting my 7-year-old nephew, who had the manners of a drunken raccoon and the attitude of a spoiled prince. Liam wasn't a normal kid. He didn't just throw tantrums, he weaponized them. If he didn't get his way, he'd scream until walls shook. He broke things when he was bored, talked back like a full-grown man, and had the patience of a firecracker. But the worst part? Camille encouraged it. Every time he acted out, she made excuses. "He's just a kid. Boys will be boys. You're being dramatic." Dramatic? Last time I watched him, he locked himself in my bathroom and poured an entire bottle of shampoo down the toilet just to see what would happen. No. No. I wasn't going through that again. Camille didn't even bother arguing. Instead, my phone lit up with another message. "Camille, you don't get to say no. I'm dropping him off." My stomach clenched. Before I could reply, I heard a car outside. I got up and looked through the window. Camille. Marching up my driveway, dragging Liam behind her. My front doorbell rang. A second later, another text popped up. "Camille, enjoy your weekend with him, or else." I opened the door, blocking the entrance with my body. "Camille," I said no. She barely looked at me. "It's already done." Liam, completely unbothered, walked inside like he owned the place, already staring at his iPad. I reached for Camille's arm, lowering my voice. "I mean it. I'm not watching him." She snatched her arm back, flipping her hair. "You'll be fine." And then, without another word, she turned around, walked back to her car, and drove off. My jaw clenched. I took a deep breath, shutting the door. Liam was already on my couch, legs stretched out, watching some obnoxious YouTube video at full volume. I could hear the grating voice of a cartoon character yelling about slime or something equally dumb. I stood there, trying to process what had just happened. Camille had dumped her son on me like an unwanted package. Not even a conversation, not a single concern about my life or what I had going on. No. She wasn't getting away with this. I pulled out my phone and called her. She didn't answer. I called again. Straight to voicemail. Fine. She wanted to play games. Let's play. I walked over to Liam, keeping my voice neutral. "Hey, buddy." He didn't look up. "What?" "Grab your stuff." He finally glanced at me, annoyed. "Why?" "Because you're leaving." He scowled. "Mom said I'm staying." I smiled. "Yeah." She didn't ask me. He huffed but didn't move. "I want to stay here." "Too bad." I grabbed his backpack and tossed it toward him. He barely caught it, pouting. "But I don't want to go home." He whined. "You're not going home," I said, grabbing my keys. "You're coming with me." His face scrunched up in confusion, but I didn't give him time to argue. I grabbed his iPad out of his hands. "Hey!" He shrieked, lunging for it. I held it out of reach. "You'll get it back when we get there." He stomped his foot. "Get where?" "You'll see." I drove 2 hours to my friend Ben's place. He lived in a small town just far enough that Camille wouldn't think to look for me. Ben owed me a favor. A big one. I had called him on the way. He didn't ask too many questions, just laughed and said, "Yeah, man. You can crash here. Sounds like your sister needs a reality check." When we arrived, Liam was half asleep in the back seat, groggy and cranky. I parked, nudged him awake, and let him inside. Ben greeted us with a smirk. "This the demon child?" Liam squinted at him. "I don't like you," Ben laughed. "Charming kid." I turned to Liam. "Make yourself comfortable. But no iPad until tomorrow." He looked betrayed. "But no iPad," I repeated, my tone final. He huffed but stomped off to the guest room. Ben leaned in. "You sure about this?" I shrugged. "Camille wants to play dirty. So can I." The next morning, my phone exploded. 22 missed calls. 37 messages. All from Camille. I grinned, sipping my coffee. Then the doorbell rang. Ben raised an eyebrow. That her? Probably. I opened the door. There she was. Furious. She looked wild, like she hadn't slept. Her hair pulled into a messy bun. You, she hissed, stepping inside. Where? The HLL. Is my son? I sipped my coffee. Where do you think? She grabbed my arm. Are you insane? You left him. I pulled away. I didn't leave him. I just took my own advice. Had plans. Remember? Her eyes darted around the room. Where is he? I took another sip. Not here. Her nostrils flared. If you, relax, I said, setting my cup down. He's safe. Just not my problem anymore. She inhaled sharply, chest heaving. You're a sick bastard, she spat. I smirked. And you're an irresponsible parent. For the first time, something flickered in her eyes, something like guilt. She swallowed. You don't understand. I tilted my head. Then make me. She opened her mouth, then closed it. For the first time, she had nothing to say. I leaned back. You can pick him up. But next time. Ask. She stared at me, fists clenched. Then, with a sharp nod, she turned and stormed out. I exhaled, feeling something shift between us. For the first time ever, I had one. Camille stormed out of Ben's house without another word, her heels clicking against the wooden porch. I watched through the window as she yanked open her car door, slammed it shut, and peeled out of the driveway like a bat out of HLL. Ben let out a low whistle behind me. Man. You sure you weren't adopted? I let out a short, humorless laugh. Some days, I wonder. But even as I tried to brush it off, I could feel the tension in my shoulders. Camille had always been pushy, but this was a different level. She hadn't just been angry, she had been desperate. And I didn't like that. I rubbed my temples and exhaled. Well, I guess I'd better head back. She's gonna rip my damn head off when I get there. Ben clapped me on the back. Stay for breakfast first. You're gonna need the energy. By the time I got home, Camille's car was already in my driveway, parked crookedly across the pavement like she had arrived in a hurry. I barely got the door open before she shoved past me, fuming. You are an absolute bastard. I shut the door behind her, unfazed. You said that already, she whirled around, jabbing a manicured finger at me. What the HLL is wrong with you? You abandoned my child, I sighed, tossing my keys onto the counter. Camille, stop. He was never abandoned. He was at Ben's. Safe. With a responsible adult. I didn't dump him on a stranger's doorstep like a damn Amazon package. Her face turned red. That's not the point. I crossed my arms. No. Then what is? Her jaw clenched, but she had no answer. I gave her a moment, then shrugged. Look. You don't get to force responsibilities onto other people without their consent. You never even asked, Camille. You just told me. And when I said no, you did it anyway. She scoffed. Because I didn't have a choice. Bullshit. I took a step closer, lowering my voice. You always have a choice. You just expect everyone else to clean up your messes. Her nostrils flared, and for a second, I thought she was going to slap me. Instead, she let out a shaky breath and pressed her fingers against her temples. I just needed one weekend, she muttered, more to herself than to me. Just one. Something in her tone made me pause. I frowned. Where were you? She didn't answer. Camille. She swallowed hard, shaking her head. It doesn't matter. Yes, it does. She let out a dry laugh. Why? So you can judge me. Like you always do. I exhaled through my nose, trying to keep my patience. If you'd actually talked to me instead of dropping cryptic threats and my text messages, maybe I wouldn't have to assume the worst. She rubbed her arms like she was suddenly cold. Her whole demeanor had shifted from furious to something else. Something uncomfortable. I stepped her closely. She looked exhausted. There were dark circles under her eyes, her makeup slightly smudged like she hadn't taken it off the night before. Her clothes, usually well put together, were wrinkled like she had thrown them on in a hurry, and that's when I noticed the bruise. It was faint, barely visible beneath the concealer on her left forearm. But it was there. My stomach tightened. Camille, I said carefully. What the HLL is going on? Her eyes flickered, and for a split second, I saw something that looked like fear. Then, just as quickly, she masked it. Nothing, she said. Just drop it. I didn't believe her for a second. Later that night, I sat on my couch, staring at my phone. Something was off. Camille was a lot of things, selfish, entitled, demanding, but she was never scared. Not like that. And that bruise. I had a sinking feeling that I knew exactly where it came from. I pulled up her contact and hovered my thumb over the call button. Then, before I could talk myself out of it, I pressed it. She picked up on the second ring. What? She snapped. Who is he? I asked. There was a long silence. Then, I told you to drop it. Click. She hung up. My stomach twisted. I wasn't dropping this. I sat there, staring at my phone, a deep unease settling in my gut. Camille was hiding something, and I had a terrible feeling I knew what. I wasn't in a hole. I had seen signs like this before, bruises, rushed excuses, uncharacteristic fear. She had always been a force of nature, never backing down from anything. But today, she had flinched. Something was very wrong. And I was going to find out what. I started by doing something Camille never expected. I showed up at her house unannounced. It was a small, single-story home in a quiet neighborhood, but something about it felt off. The curtains were drawn, the driveway was empty. I knocked. No answer. I knocked again, louder. After a long pause, the door cracked open. Liam peeked out, eyes wide. Uncle? I smiled, kneeling down. Hey, bud. Where's your mom? He hesitated. She's sleeping. It was 4 in the afternoon. Can I come in? I asked gently. He bit his lip, then nodded, stepping aside. I walked in and immediately knew something was wrong. The place was a mess, empty wine glasses on the table, a shattered picture frame near the couch. A jacket that didn't belong to Camille was draped over a chair. Then I saw her. She was curled up on the couch, asleep, or passed out, in the same wrinkled clothes from before. And standing in the doorway to the kitchen was a man I had never seen before. Tall. Broad shoulders. Dark eyes that immediately did not like me. I could already tell, this was the problem. He gave me a slow, measuring look, then crossed his arms. Who the HLL are you? I stared right back. Her brother. His mouth twitched into something that was not a smile. Didn't know she had one. I glanced at Camille. Wake her up. She's sleeping, he said, tone sharp. I clenched my jaw. Wake her up. His eyes darkened. Or what? I didn't blink. Or I call the cops and let them do it for me. A tense silence stretched between us, then Camille groaned, shifting. Her eyes fluttered open, bleary and unfocused. When she saw me, her whole body stiffened. What are you doing here? She croaked. I should be asking you that, I said, glancing around. Who's your friend? Her eyes darted toward the man, then back to me. And that's when I knew. She was scared of him. She swallowed hard. I don't give a damn what his name is, I cut in, turning back to him. Get out. He let out a low chuckle. You don't get to tell me what to do in my house. I turned back to Camille, waiting. Her lips parted slightly. She hesitated, then, it's not his house. She whispered. His jaw twitched. And there it was. I exhaled, nodding slowly. Okay. Then I walked straight to the front door, opened it, and gestured. Out. His smirk dropped. Not happening. I pulled out my phone. All right, then. I'll let the police handle it. Camille sucked in a sharp breath. Wait, I wasn't really going to call them, not yet. But he didn't know that. And for the first time, I saw something flicker in his expression, hesitation. I pushed further. You don't live here. You're trespassing. You touch her, it's assault. I held up my phone, screen open. So either you walk out that door, or I make this real difficult for you. A muscle in his jaw ticked. For a second, I thought he might actually try something. Then he let out a sharp breath and grabbed his jacket. Whatever, he muttered, brushing past me. She'll call me later. No, I said. He turned back. What? I stared him down. She won't. He scoffed, but I could see it, the doubt creeping in. Then he stepped outside, shaking his head. You're a real piece of work. I smiled. Takes one to know one. And with that, I shut the door in his face. Camille sat up slowly, rubbing her temples. What the HLL was that? I sat down across from her. I was about to ask you the same thing. She swallowed. It's complicated. No, I said. It's really not. She didn't say anything. I leaned forward. How long? She let out a slow breath. A few months. Did he hit you? She flinched. Then shook her head. Not exactly. My stomach churned. Camille. Her hands curled into fists. He just loses his temper sometimes. I exhaled through my nose. That's not an excuse. She squeezed her eyes shut. I know. Silence. Then she whispered, I didn't know how to leave. I stared at her. And suddenly, I didn't see Camille, the entitled, selfish sister. I saw a scared woman who had dug herself into a hole she didn't know how to climb out of. I took a breath. You're leaving now. She blinked up at me. What? You heard me. I gestured around. A cure SHT. You and Liam are coming with me. Her eyes watered. I can't just, yes, you can. I softened my voice. Camille, this isn't a game. That guy isn't just a bad boyfriend. He's dangerous. And you know it. She sniffled, nodding weakly. I clapped my hands together. Great. Then let's go. It took 2 days, but we got everything out. Camille and Liam moved in with me for a while, just until she got back on her feet. And the guy? Well, I made sure he knew I was watching. A little conversation with some of my buddies, guys who were very good at making people uncomfortable, and Shirty stayed the HLL away. No threats. No violence. Just a few well-placed words, a couple of accidental run-ins. He got the message. And just like that, Camille was free. 1 month later, we sat on my porch, drinking cheap beer. She let out a sigh, stretching her legs. I should probably say. Thank you. I smirked. Yeah, you should. She rolled her eyes, but there was a smile in it. Liam ran through the yard, laughing, really laughing, for the first time in a long while. Camille followed my gaze, something soft in her expression. I don't deserve this. I nudged her. Sure, you do. She shook her head, swallowing. I was a terrible sister. I shrugged. You had your moments, she laughed. And for the first time in years, it felt like we were actually okay. Maybe even better.
Good morning， 早安，妈妈们。借我你那个麦试一下。你们收到了这个 Oxford Dictionary pen 没有啊 ？E 卡姆斯就是上次 Kobe Daddy 跟这个 E 卡姆斯配合，然后开卖的这个 E 卡姆斯。就是 E 卡姆斯我自己呢也有买一套给我的孩子，然后呢我也买一套送给。